and the funds are due by 17th of April 2025. This has been escalated to the FIFA Disciplinary Committee for potential further sanctions. The Adel Amrouche case, we have also been fined about 5.5 million, and FIFA has sanctioned a 20% deduction from our next FIFA forward funds. Firat has a case, our former coach, Engin Firat, has a case that is claiming over 80 million shillings, and this is we are actively pursuing this with the ministry to see how it can be sorted out. Zoo FC disciplinary case, which was in front of FIFA in the year 2021-2022, when they were relegated due to much manipulation. The case came up, and we are facing another potential fine of up to almost about 17 or 18 million shillings. Failure to pay by this will result in 20% deduction from, again, our grants from the FIFA Forward projects. And these are some of the challenges that we are facing. Lastly, we are also facing a potential insolvency case from AFS, claiming about 80 million from previous commercial, breach of commercial contracts, and TV rights. In total, we are navigating liabilities of over 600 million Kenyan shillings, which has placed pressure on our ability to deliver on key programs. However, I assure you that we are taking firm, deliberate, and transparent steps to resolve these matters and restore the Federation's financial standing and integrity. Despite these challenges, we are making steady progress in professionalizing our operations. We have restructured departments, strengthened internal controls, and implemented systems that prioritize transparency, accountability, and good performance. We are also strengthening our international partnerships. Our MOU with the Royal Moroccan Football Federation has enabled our national team to train and play in world-class facilities. The next phase will focus on infrastructure development and capacity building for referees, coaches, and technical staff. Looking ahead, the FKF Technical Center in Machakos will be a cornerstone of our development strategy. It will serve as a permanent home for our national teams and a hub for talent development at all levels. Honorable delegates, none of this is possible without your continued support. Your role in oversight, grassroots implementation, and policy direction remains indispensable to us. Let us remain united in purpose, ambitious in our vision, and steadfast in our values. I also take this opportunity through the Ministry of Sports to thank the Government of Kenya under the leadership of His Excellency the President Dr. William Ruto for the invaluable support they have given us during this rocky period. Together, we can transform Kenyan football from grassroots up and ensure financial recovery and put in place a structure that is resilient, professional, and truly representative of our nation's footballing talent. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Dear delegates, thank you. And at this point, I want to take us to the fourth agenda item, which is appointment of members to check the minutes. Over to you, GS.
Thank you, President. Dear delegates, please propose 2 members to be appointed to check the minutes of the previous minute which are before you. Makoja. Hamisi Mwakoja has proposed Kenneth Ruto and Peter Carino. Who will second? Seconder for the proposal. Yes, Bernard. Bernard Odongo will second the proposal. Hence, the two members, the delegates that will check the minutes will be Kenneth Ruto and Peter Carino. Please confirm if the minutes that are before you, that is Kenneth Ruto and Peter Carino, please confirm if those are the minutes for the previous elective assembly. Kenneth Ruto confirms. Peter Carino? Confirmed Peter Carino. President, back to you.
Thank you, members. I take us to the fifth agenda item, appointment of scrutineers. Over to you, GS.
Thank you, President. Dear delegates, please propose 4 members to be appointed to act as scrutineers for this AGM. We need a proposer to propose 4 names to act as scrutineers for this AGM. Yes, Chairman Bernard Omondi. Thank you, Bernard. We will need a seconder. Mr. Oliele. Mr. Oliele is the seconder. Hence, the following delegates are officially acting as scrutineers for this AGM. Bernard Odongo, number 1. Number 2, Jekton Obure. Number 3, Rose Chemutai. Number 4, Dan Njuguna. Back to you, President.
I go to the 8th activity, which is the report, the activity report, and I want to bring to your attention the presentation that will be on the screen near you.
Soon after assuming office, he and Fkf staff and members of the National Executive Committee and the Weapon Reduction Program conducted by FIFA, a critical step in aligning the Federation's operations with global best practices. The transition began with the formal certification of the new Football Kenya Federation president and his team. One of their first actions was to appoint a transition ad hoc committee, which carried out an internal audit. Since taking office, the Federation has embarked on a journey to stabilize the game. From policy overhauls to the creation of new opportunities, the agenda has touched every corner of Kenya football. The 2024-25 Fkf Premier League has produced one of the tightest title races in recent memory. Kenya Police FC currently lead the pack, closely followed by Tusker FC and Gor Mahia. The race remains wide open. In the Women's Premier League, Kenya Police Bullets FC edged out Ulinzi Starlets to clinch the title on the final day of the season. A commanding 4-0 victory over Trinity Starlets sealed the championship after a neck-and-neck race throughout the campaign. The 2024-25 Fkf Women's Division 1 season came to an end with 4 teams crowned champions from their respective zones. TUK Ravens from Zone A, Diani Queens from Zone B, Lowland Starlets from Zone C, and Iron Ladies from Zone D. Iron Ladies went on to edge out Diani Queens in the final playoff held in Nakuru, earning the title of 2024-25 Fkf Women's Division 1 overall champions. Meanwhile, the National Super League has been just as competitive. Nairobi United, APS Bomet and Naivas are all pushing hard for promotion to the top flight. In Division 1, Kabati Youth secured promotion from Zone A, while Soy United finished top in Zone B. Both will feature in the second tier next season. On the women's side, Kayole Starlets and Madeira Soccer Assassins emerged winners in Zone A and Zone B of the Women's National Super League. They've both earned automatic promotion to the Women's Premier League. Kayole thrashed Madeira 3-0 in the playoff to become overall WNSL champions. The Mozart Bet Cap delivered its fair share of drama, with thrilling upsets and impressive performances from lower tier sides. The competition continues to spotlight emerging talent across the country. Mara Sugar will battle Nairobi United in the semi-final, with the winner taking on Gor Mahia in the final. Importantly, the Fkf Women's Cup secured its first ever official partner in Bet Power. This milestone sponsorship goes beyond prize money. It brings visibility, support structures, and renewed ambition to the women's game. At the national level, the Harambee Stars entered a new era under South African legend Benny McCarthy. The Stars resumed their World Cup qualifiers with a dramatic 3-3 away draw to Gambia, showing real fight and intent. Though they later fell to Gabon at home, there were signs of tactical progress under McCarthy. The Harambee Starlets stayed in the hunt for WAFCON qualification after knocking out Tunisia in a tense 2-legged tie. Despite losing both friendlies away to Ivory Coast, the matches offered valuable experience ahead of a decisive clash with Gambia in October. Starlets are now going to face Morocco in a friendly on June 4th. These high-level engagements have been made possible by an MOU signed between FKF through President Hussein Mohammed and the Royal Moroccan Football Federation. The partnership includes match support, training camps, and capacity building across technical and administrative areas. The Harambee Stars are also scheduled to play 2 friendly matches in Morocco during the upcoming international window, vital preparation as the team continues its rebuild. The Junior Starlets went on to eliminate Uganda in the Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers and gained a valuable experience in friendlies against Morocco. Although their campaign ended in the final round against Cameroon, the exposure will shape their development. The Rising Stars made history by qualifying for the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Though they exited at the group stage, the experience sets the stage for future success. Kenyan referees are increasingly trusted at the continental level. Gilbert Cheruiyot and Stephen Yembe are in contention to officiate the CAF Champions League final, a strong endorsement of their quality. Josephine Wanjiko, Lucy Juma, and Peter Kamaku Aweru continue to represent Kenya with distinction in CAF competitions. In a historic achievement, Stephen Yembe has been selected to officiate at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, the only match official from East Africa to make the list. At the grassroots level, referee training and capacity building have received a major boost. For the first time, FKF has rolled out official referee courses in Marsabit, Wajir, Turkana, and other underserved regions, with more lined up across the country. Strategic partnerships have begun to bear fruit. Bet Power's sponsorship of the FKF Women's Cup is a bold step towards sustainability in the women's game. Kentaste is now supporting the Kwale Beach Soccer League, injecting structure into an often overlooked format. Mozart Bet continues to back local football through the Mozart Bet Cup, while Azam remains the FKF Premier League's official broadcast partner, ensuring fans can follow the game across Kenya. In a bid to support grassroots football, FKF distributed balls and kits to 94 teams in Kajiado County, and we continue to equip schools all over Kenya through our respective branches. There's clear progress on the pitch, in the boardroom, and within communities. From the grassroots to the global stage, the foundations for long-term success are being laid. This is just the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, all that is possible through your support and your commitment to football, and I assure you we are going to do more to keep building our football. I would like to take you back to agenda item number 7, if you don't mind, and we have to redo that part, which is the approval of the minutes of the preceding General Assembly, which was the SGM that we had last time, which had the agenda item for the elections. I think over to you, GS, so that we can dispense of it procedurally and properly. Agenda item number 7, before we go back to agenda item number 9. Over to you, GS.
Thank you, President. The minutes of the previous Congress had already been circulated. We need to take a vote to approve the minutes preceding the General Assembly as had been checked and confirmed by Kenneth Ruto and Alex Musikeri. Delegates, in front of you, you have 2 placards. You have a red placard and a green placard. The red placard is for a no vote. The green placard is for a yes vote. If you are abstaining, please just raise your hand. For the scrutineers, please, let's check and count the votes and the voting process. If you are approving the previous minutes as had been circulated, either raise the red or the green placard. If you are abstaining, please raise your hand without the placard. And the voting starts now. Scrutineers, please check. Scrutineers, please check and count. Please raise your placard. Scrutineers, once you've counted, please, you can confirm the number of votes. We are supposed to have 4 scrutineers. Let the other 2 assist Jecton and please give the mic to the scrutineers.
Sir.
Come again.
80.
80 for which vote?
Yes.
80 for yes vote?
Yes.
And no vote? How many?
Nobody.
0 vote for, abstained. How many abstained? None.
Yes.
Okay. So the minutes have been passed. Yes vote carries the day with 80. No, 0. Abstainment, 0. Back to you, President.
Thank you, GS. We will now then proceed to the 9th agenda item, presentation of the consolidated and revised balance sheet and the profit and loss statement. I take this opportunity to welcome the chairman of the Finance Committee to take us through those reports for our benefit. Karibu sana, Luther Smukua, the chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear delegates, I am Luther Smukua, Chairman, Fkf Finance Committee, and today we are here to take you through the financial health of the institution, get to a high-level sort of presentation to get to understand where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going in terms of financial matters. Thank you. So we'll go to the next slide and the key financial ratios of the Federation's audited accounts. Dear delegates, the first line there are the grants and the receipts. That's the total revenue that we received. You can see for the financial year ending December 2024, we received a total of around 1.1 billion, a 25% upsurge from around 900 million on the financial year ending 2023. The expenses, we had a spike. The expenses totaled to 1.6 billion in the year ending 2024 December, up from 810 million. That's around 110 upsurge in terms of expenses. You can see there the main items for the direct expenses. There's the men football, women football, as well as the women's youth football, and other direct costs. I'd like to take you to the second item, which is the men's football, where we had a huge upsurge of around 113%, as well as the women's football jumping to a total of around 287% increase from the previous financial year. Just go back to the previous slide. Dear delegates, I'd like to take you to the item that is circled. That's the net fund. If you could see, we had a negative funding. That means that we expensed, or rather we spent more than we received, and that resulted into a negative position of around 297%. The previous year, we had a positive net fund of 143 million, but last year, we had a negative fund of around 490 million, and you'll be able to see in the next slides why we had that 490 million. That's just a high level, the explanation. You can see the breakdown by source. FIFA gives us around 22% in the last financial year, with GOK being our major donor, or rather partner, giving us 47% of the revenue. And this is the national team's activities. Sekafa, 2%. Other sponsorships, that's where the Azams and the Mozart Bet falls. It's at 22%. And other receipts, which is the club's subscription, are giving us a paltry 1.5% per annum. Direct expenses, as I had mentioned, it's grew by 112% year on year. Women football, 27%, and women youth football for 74%. That's a huge jump. While the staff costs fell by 42%, the other expenses jumped by 124%, and therefore giving us that negative fund. Down there, just high level, the receipts, 1.1 billion, expenses, 1.6 billion, and a negative net fund of 490 million shillings. I'll go to the next slide. Dear delegates, that's the statement of the financial position of the balance sheet. I've circled that part of the receivables and prepayments. You could see in the financial year ending 2023, we had a balance of 123 million, but the last financial year, which is 2024, that fell to 629,000. Basically, I'll draw you to point number 2 down there, that is in bold. It's important to note that the OB van, which carried a sum of 123 million in the current assets, and as advised by FIFA, has now been written off, and therefore that downward trend, and of course that led to the negative funding that we had, because then now the current assets had to go down by 123 million. The overall fund dropped by 102 million. I think I mentioned that earlier. We can go to the next slide. Dear delegates, I think we thought it's important to just highlight the top creditors by value, because in the books of accounts that we saw, we have a huge balance of creditors. I think we've listed them just for your noting, but again, it's important to know that there is a process that is ongoing, which is the creditor verification, and a deep dive into the balances so that then we are able to ascertain the true picture of the balances, and this is being done this financial year. The next slide is the high-risk creditors. Again, these are creditors that we believe that cause a higher risk in terms of reputation to the Federation, not really by numbers, but again, by what the risk that they pose. Where is this high risk? Because there are stuff like disputed or unverified amounts. There's the foreign exchange exposure, more so where we have been billed in foreign currencies. There are the contractual and court-awarded penalties. If we don't pay well in time, again, we fall into a risk of reputation, as well as the regulatory and tax-related debts. These are things that we are dealing with this financial year, and we hope to make good traction come the reporting of this financial year. We'll go to the next slide. Dear delegates, those are just the financial ratios for your noting, and because of the negative funding, and of course the liquidity ratio will be negative, or rather will be low. Generally accepted ratio is 1:0, but we are at 0.02. Basically, that means that our current assets are not able to fund the current liabilities as they fall due. The solvency ratios, and again, because of the debts, because of the high debt, we are at 1.8%. The profitability ratio, we do not make any profit, but again, we measure that through the funding model, because we're in the negative funding position in the last financial year. That ratio again is negative. Only one area that we are doing well, and because we are a sports organization that has a ratio of 77%, meaning that 77% of our revenue is actually spent on sporting or on footballing activities, as opposed to other expenses like capex and recurrent expenditure. I think the next slide, that's all about the financials, and as I mentioned, this is very, this is a high-level presentation. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Benim and Associates, who are our auditors for this financial year, to make a comment on their findings. Karibu.
The President, riding on all the protocols observed. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. I'm CPA Benjamin, Benim and Associates LLP partner, and I present our opinion for the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2024. For the purposes of the opinion, I'll present specifically the opinion